Hello and welcome to Indiepocalypse Radio. We're in the after dark mode now. This used to be the normal times, but now it's so dark out. It's late. It's like after this, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna lie around and do nothing. But anyway, sometimes it's not late at night for some people. For some people, it's like the very earliest of the mornings. Perhaps they've even just woken up. Like maybe our first guest, who you may know from. Oh wait, what's this show? I see. Listen, I'm getting out of practice considering I do this. Like I've had interruptions now where I've had to do things, and I don't forget. I'm Andrew. I made Indiepocalypse as a thing that comes out every month, and it's cool. Anyway, weird games. I like them. I put them in a bundle, and this is a show where I talk to people who are often in it, occasionally adjacent to it, as you'll see both of this night, as we have two great guests lined up for you. The first guest, if you're looking at the thing, you can already see who you may know as I get back into my rhythm from issue 20 of Indiepocalypse with A Twisted Place. It's Rana Strange. Rana, how are you doing today?
I am doing all right. I obviously live in a different time zone, so I've just had to get very quickly prepared in the morning.
Yes, yes, that is. I was like, I'll switch to 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. That'll account for everybody, but it does not account for a very specific slice of the world, which is that like
It's
Oceania.
like 10 o'clock here.
Oh, that's not that bad. I was worried it was like 7 o'clock there.
No, it's
Oh,
just my fault.
no, no. Listen, if I had nothing to do, I would not get up until 10 o'clock. Sometimes, and I've done it certainly, but that's not. I haven't done it. I did not do it today. But anyway, that's all aside. Hello, welcome to the show. Glad to have you
Thanks for having
on.
me on.
Glad to have you on. Now I'm now to get into the. Wait a minute. No, I can't get into the business. I can't get into the all important. Okay, so here's another wraparound question. So you are what we call of the 10 games in each issue. One commission, one handpick, eight submitted. You are of the handpick variety, and I got to ask an important question. Did you know about Indiepocalypse before I emailed you?
Um, I think I might have heard it, like, people tweet about it before, like, that I follow, but, like, I not really.
Okay, good, perfect. That's what I like to hear, in a way. Because when people say, "Oh, I know about that," I'm like, "Then why isn't anybody talking about it?"
Like, I
Like,
did have to, like, search my feed to see if this was legit.
yes, that was my follow up question was what what made you go, this is legit and not a scam, or if it is a
It's
scam,
clearly some pizza-related prank.
yeah, if it's a scam, it's the world's worst long con scam in the world. Because it's like, I'll trick people into making me pay them thousands of dollars over the course of 2 years so that I can. Uh, the profit goal, like the goal of the scam, is unclear if it is one.
But yeah, it was very surreal.
Yes, that's well, no. I suppose what would you consider surreal about this? Like besides it being just a random email out of nowhere, unprovoked.
That's a big that's a big part of it, but I've also like had a lot of anxiety about my abilities making games, like
Oh
compared to like other cool people out there, and
yes, yes. Let me tell you someone who is eagerly glad to watch an upcoming Kickstarter for an anthology succeed, and then will spiral into self-loathing as it succeeds, and goes, "What about not me? What have I been doing wrong?" It's a, it's a real art's a real hellhole, you know.
yeah,
But I guess I don't know. That's why people make it out. There's no good. There's no good reason to. There's no good explanation to why people make art. I suppose, other than I don't know. reasons. Now, Rana, you voiced some concern earlier about having to have knowledge about a certain, like, let's say, early to mid aughts web comic.
Oh yeah.
So I have to know what is your familiarity with Achewood? Would you say?
I saw a video talk about it and I didn't finish watching it.
Okay.
It's just become a thing that Twitter is referencing a lot lately, so
Oh, I didn't know. Things come back in the fashion every now. I got right on time for Hellraiser coming back in the fashion, I guess, because I've been seeing like a lot of Hellraiser lately, and I only just watched it a couple of weeks ago for the first time.
I mean, Hellraiser is definitely my appreciation of it has like grown a lot since like knowing that what was it, Clive Barker
Yes.
has like been involved in like the gay BDSM community, and then there's like so there's kind of like a familiarity with like the monster designs as being less,
Oh,
supposed
yes.
to be just purely shocking and
Right.
more kind of fun in a way.
No, listen, Clive Barker. Have you seen the first Hellraiser?
I've watched a review of it.
Okay. Okay, so like that main antagonist, that's Clive Barker. I feel like if you are not aware that Clive Barker is gay, and then you watch the movie, like, ah, yes, he wrote and directed it. That and he put that guy in there. He's like, ah, yes, that man. It's for all my dudes out there who love dudes, because man, that guy is a very specific style of. I had a friend say, he's like, isn't he just like a Clive Barker? I was telling that to a friend. He's kind of like a Clive Barker self-insert. He's like, oh, so he's a gay man in the '80s? Yes, yes, he is. Thank you for proving my point. But anyway, I like that he looks very stylish with no flesh on in that movie. Anyway, but it's like it's a weird thing because we watched that movie and then we watched like this eighth Hellraiser movie or something, and there's like
Was that the one where it's like an online ARG thing, and then there's like a spooky house, and it's like, sorry, I've
no.
only just like watched recap review things.
You're that is exactly what it is. I was actually very disappointed that it was not more online stuff. It's like a reference to an ARG, then it's like Saw, I guess. Because it's like I don't know. There's no Cenobites. There's like he's making people ironically killing them or something, and because they don't appreciate life. Or Rana, what's your familiarity with Saw? What's your now that we're in Halloween season, I suppose. Do you have?
I have
Okay,
actually. Sorry.
I was gonna ask. We're gonna go cross culture. How does Halloween travel to your side of the globe? Do you have Halloween the same way that I think of it as a United Stateser?
Sort of like through cultural osmosis, like trick or treating is less common,
Yeah.
but they assume like pumpkins are out of season.
But the idea.
But yeah, there's like not so much like Halloween special episodes, but there's like especially with kids, they'll tend to do that sort of stuff.
Okay. So you don't go into full. Has Spirit Halloween infected that area of the globe? Or is it merely infecting every warehouse within the United States? I don't know if it's an international threat. But I'm assuming not. So, wait. Oh, that was something different. That was something completely. Sorry, I got assaulted by a completely unrelated. I'm like, oh no, a Discord message. That's important, but it was in my secret friends channel. But anyhow, I was going to say, what is your relation to horror? I suppose
Um,
horror fiction.
well, I guess as a kid, obviously it was mostly horror movies, but
Yeah.
since like especially as a kid, like there's this sort of appeal to, seeing the scariest movie and not only just being seen as more mature for it, but there's like, because as a kid you don't know what horror movies even are. There's just
Yeah.
like some extra ontological nightmare about them.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like those are the
Really,
movies.
that if you watch this movie, you could actually be completely fucked up. You might learn truths about the universe that you didn't want to know.
Right. Because they're kind of like the distillation of all our objectionable material just rolled up into a single movie, especially after like a certain point in time, and especially
Yeah.
when you fucking rated R. But so how did it translate? Did you forego horror as you aged and like put it behind you, or did you approach it with like a different appreciation?
I think I started to get more into like horror fiction writing,
Okay.
podcasts even.
All right. Yeah.
And obviously there tend to be less full of jump scares.
Yes. It's a bit trickier to do in a book, I think.
It'd be, yeah.
Could you,
And there's more ideas that are just generally cool that just leave an impression without like being loud
yeah.
is the best way to describe it to me, I guess.
Right, right, because there's no option to sort of show the monster, as it were. You could like I guess suppose describe it in immense detail, but you can't you can't have the illusion shattered by having a kind of clunky costume on a screen, like a like a. So to go back to Cenobites for but a moment. So there's one he's called the Chatterer, because he's got the one he's got like his big mouth ripped open. He's got his teeth sticking out
Yeah.
very prominently. His teeth chatter. In Hellworld, they don't chatter because it's clearly like a much cheaper costume. It's like a rubber mask, so there's no rubber cannot chatter, and it's like really can like take you out in terms of like horror is. I talk a lot. I think horror is like in this. There's a lot of aesthetics. I think in all sorts of genres, and some lend themselves more. But I feel like horror is like immensely focused on aesthetic, sometimes above everything else. So it can be disappointing when it looks kind of bland. But we're not here to just talk about. This is I suppose it's somewhat game centric, as is I. You make games. I also sometimes make games. I've been making them more lately. But what is important? An ever increasing Indiepocalypse question is like, I gotta know. What do you think about? What's your relationship to Mario? How do you feel about Mario?
I don't feel much about him being played by Chris Pratt.
No, you don't. Would it surprise you to hear that I just last weekend was in the Midwest adjacent of the United States, and the voice of Mario himself was there signing $50 autographs. You know, in a warehouse, basically.
Somehow I thought you were going to go there.
Yeah. And I guess that's why he doesn't play Mario. Poor old Charlie Martinet. I'm glad Chris Pratt turned into like a real really like showed his whole ass, you know? It's real. It's one of those situations where I get real vindicated by that someone I don't like turns out terrible so that everyone else can dislike them. Because I remember when he did his first turn into like Jurassic World, and I saw the trailer, and I was like, "Wow, he's a bad actor. What's going on here?" like action star is not his thing, but then he kept getting famous roles or something. I don't know, some bankable stars. That's how they work. But now, aside from his human host, what about the fictional plumber man himself? Do you have any? What's your experience with him?
Originally, I believe Mario Kart.
Okay.
That's like I don't think I ever played as Mario, but like I think I changed characters a lot. My sister always played as Yoshi though.
Yeah. Mario is very vanilla, you know. It's the person who plays Mario. I think it says a lot about you in your your khaki shorts and your salmon polo and your disposition in life, real default character energy. Like, oh, I'll just go with what I got. Do you? This is something that I have difficulties with often with branching off of default. Do you, when you play a game that has like the ability to rename a character, do you rename your characters?
I used to. I don't anymore. It's I mean, there's just been obviously with RPGs especially there is the character's essentially predetermined even if they're like a blank slate, so
Yeah. Do you have something to go to if like it says enter name and then sometimes you hit start and it'll just take care of it for you, but if you can't hit start and it doesn't take care of it for you, what do you then do? Do you simply put down the game and walk away and go, no, I'm not dealing with this?
I would probably just look up what the canonical name is or something.
Okay. It's just, yeah, I have a similar, like, what do I name a thing where it's like, I'm not going to give it my name because that's not me. I'm not gonna be like the guy who owned The Legend of Zelda before I did, and I bought it from the used game store. He named the link Bong, which really is a great name. And as an 8-year-old or whatever, I didn't get it, and still now, like for whatever reason, it's like broken my brain to the point where if I think of Link and Link being named Bong, I cannot. My brain does not make the logical connection to the drug paraphernalia. It just goes, "That's a name for Link," and it goes back to like the bell sound because that's what I decided all those years ago. It's like I lived on the East Coast. There's a town called Sandwich, and occasionally people will post like photos of the Sandwich police, and I'm like, I don't get it. What's so funny about it? Why is this viral? I'm like, oh, right, because that is kind of funny when you think about it. But that's just the name of a town that I can go to and that I've always known. Do you have any weird blind spots in your life that you didn't like, that are like you only learned were strange as you like grew up, and then somebody else was like, "What are you talking about?" Or saw it in a different context?
Probably, but I think I'm gonna probably need something more specific or.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how to.
Sorry.
I don't know how to be more specific about it. And not that it's a very specific question. More that I don't have the words to find a more specific, like. Perhaps there was like a turn of phrase or like a way of eating something or like a food pairing or preparation style that was like, oh, this is just, who doesn't put peanut butter and jelly on hot wings?
I used to um, mix up shallots and scallops a
Okay.
lot, and I still can't remember what is what, and like that's complicated by the fact that in parts of Australia they call I don't even know what they would call them in America, but like potato cakes are like deep fried flat pieces of potato.
Yeah, I don't think we would call them anything because we don't. As far as I know, I've never seen them.
They're called scallops as well. So that's
Yes.
I still don't remember what is onion, what is potato, and what is an animal sea creature thing.
Yeah, that Australian. I'm gonna have to look up Australian. Oh, I bet. Oh, they're called. Thank you from the chat. They're called scallop potatoes here. So they're just clear it up. Make you confused. I'm in New England, so we're a fucking seafood country over here. So I got scallops all day. I can go down and get like all sorts of seafood and that kind of thing. So I guess I do. I guess I do know what those are. In fact, I've eaten plenty of them in my life. They sell them in boxes even. Um, but yeah, that's one of those weird. I guess like what's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of like not you don't need the language. I guess how often do you encounter the two and need to differentiate from them? I suppose.
Like I've never really enjoyed any of them, so I've just never had to actually learn what the difference is.
Yeah. Well, you're perfect. You're all set then. Um, Shallots, I think, are also one of those things that sometimes have three different names. I think can shallots also be called green? Anyway, we're in the weeds of this. And speaking of in the weeds of this, we are actually in the weeds of this segment, I suppose. Which is to say, we're deep inside of it. Which is to say, we're actually already approaching our 20-minute mark. This goes very fast. Like you'd be surprised how quickly, when you're talking to someone, 20 minutes goes away. So before I go, I gotta ask Rana of you. Um, well, let's see. Do you like Leonard Cohen's Suzanne?
Um, I'll just have to look that up quickly.
Oh,
I
just don't,
should have done this before.
don't go. Don't worry. If you stick around, you'll hear some more of it. Coming up now.
Okay, sure.
Rana, thank you for being here. Thank you for accepting my not scam email and being
Oh, thank you so much for your not scam email.
and being part of Indiepocalypse, helping to expand my sphere of influence around the world into little tiny pockets. But glad to have you. We're going on break. We'll be back at the other half of 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Goodbye, everybody. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was Francois Haday with, wouldn't you believe it, Suzanne. Um, I got a lot of. If you came in late to the show, I've got a lot of good covers of Suzanne tonight because I like that one Akewood strip where he's like, I found roast beef's playlist, my workout playlist. I wonder what it is, and it's two sides full of Leonard Cohen, Suzanne, and I've definitely been at that point in my life before. But anyway, I really recommend Nina Simone's cover is exceptionally good that I played during the intro. Big fan. Speaking of big fan and perfect transitions, we have our next guest who is, very, very, very adjacent to Indiepocalypse, perhaps, as I alluded to earlier in the show. Friends of the show, perhaps, are sometimes on the show, and that is who you may know from being online from twitch.tv or Uppercut and other places, the endless hustle lifestyle of the freelancer type.
Uh-huh.
Lotus, how you doing?
Hi. I'm pretty good. It's a Saturday. I just had a spicy chicken sandwich and I'm feeling good.
I've had too many spicy chicken sandwiches as of late.
No, never too many.
I've been traveling. I've been sampling all the different because everyone's got spicy. They've all got them now. Everyone is advertising that they've got them now. And I only really eat fast food when I'm traveling.
Fair. I mean, it's the easiest, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You have one like food poisoning bout when you're traveling and you decide to just eat McDonald's forever.
Yes. Well, when the highway only has a Burger King on it, and you have to
True,
drive like
true.
6 hours, you can eat Burger King on the highway. And it's one of my simple pleasures in life.
That's fair, actually. I'm terrible at driving with food, though. I get too nervous. I'm a very nervous driver.
Oh, I would say I'm a great driver until I hit a curb just 2 days ago. I I deposited my money from when I went to Pennsylvania to the show there, selling copies of Indiepocalypse. And then like right after I left the bank, I hit the curb outside the bank, and I had to get new tires. I was like, sucks. There goes.
That's unfortunate.
That's literally all that money down the drain, plus some, because I turned a little too sharp. Cars suck. They're miserable.
Cars suck. And I mean, if we're being honest, specifically bank parking lots are set up for a way where I feel like you have to hit something.
Yeah,
Why is it the way they are?
because they're on Main Street. They're tiny. It's a nightmare, and I hate it. I think it was somebody was I saw someone online talking about like how when we drive cars we become one with the car and we become car in order to survive. And I disassociated with car and like separated
Mhm.
myself from it, and it's a truly like bizarre experience to realize and like think that you are like put yourself in the headspace that you are driving the car. I
Right,
don't know
yeah.
how I don't know how to describe that maybe, but
It sounds bad to say that you zone out while you're going 70 miles an hour on the freeway, but that really is the only way to drive. Like it
yeah.
sounds very wrong, but no. You truly just go into literal autopilot mode.
Yeah, it was stressful when I did. It's like I'm too aware that I'm sitting in this vehicle right now and I'm not part of it. And it's hurtling down the street. But anyway, cars, it's America. What are you going to do without them, you know?
Literally.
I can't I've had a situation where it's like when I was in Pennsylvania, it was the option of a 2 hour walk or a 15-hour drive between my
Yep.
hotel room and the convention center.
Living in rural Texas, it's like, okay, you want to get fast food really quickly. Do you want to walk 20 minutes to the nearest Whataburger with no sidewalks on a busy bridge, or would you like to drive for 3 minutes?
But,
So,
yeah, I can only imagine like I'm in only like vaguely is not it's like semi-rural
Mhm.
Massachusetts, which is I imagine tightly knit Texas. But yeah, I'm a similar like if I want to get a fast food, I better be ready to walk 2 hours.
Yeah, no, not for me. I'm glad I can drive, but I also hate driving. Well,
Yeah.
I've mellowed out a lot more. When I was first starting to drive, I was just a mess. Because again, in Texas, if you drive on any freeway or highway, there's a giant neon sign on every single highway that says how many people have died on Texas roads that year.
Oh,
Keeping in mind that because Texas is the biggest, mainland state,
yeah.
that's a lot of road and that's a lot of people.
Right,
So
right.
here's the driving with my driving instructor. 5,710 deaths on Texas roads. Okay, cool. I'll just keep driving.
Hey, yeah, at least they're not like live tickers.
I wonder how fast they are because they did change like every day. I think.
Yeah, well, I think I listen. If I would find like the perfect time to switch them at like a good like 4 a.m. or something, so it's not to freak the most people out.
Oh dear.
'Cause, yeah, so I can't ask you I can, as much as I couldn't ask Rana the standard apocalypse questions, I can ask you them even less.
Oh no, sorry.
So I guess I should ask you, as someone who sends, say, 150 press emails every month to no response, what made you respond to my email?
Oh well, I didn't know what Indiepocalypse was
What?
beforehand. I know. Well, not only had I like seen you around, just because same circles and all of
Yeah.
that, but I'm the social media person at Uppercut, so I had like
Okay.
seen the article about it, and I said, oh, I've seen that first round. I'll go follow them. So yeah, I do get quite a lot of press emails and things, but they're not as pressy, I guess is the way I would put it. A lot of the times the ones I get are from like actual
Uh,
genuine individuals who made a game or very small teams. So I'm like,
yeah. I've
okay.
after I send them for like 2 years, I've become increasingly disinterested in sending press emails.
I mean, that's fair. I could imagine that.
They're just like they're not shit posts, but they're like 2 counties over, and slowly getting
That's true from shitposting.
and I'm slowly getting like gentrified out of where I live. So I'm gonna have to go to move to shitpost country soon.
No.
I think I'm like very squarely decided that next month I'm just gonna say that Indiepocalypse is over and it's gonna be a last issue, and just see what happens.
Indiepocalypse edition.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did this? I'm sorry, it's unsuccessful. This is the last issue, and then maybe I'll put in white ink that I'm just joking, and just to see what happens.
Yeah, can you do the asterisk in like 1 point times New Roman? Not really
Yeah,
ending.
yeah, not actually, because I want to see what happens. I
Well,
want
you
to.
have to delete this VOD because then they'll know the jig is up.
None of them listen to this. They're all. It's just like I wonder if it'll be like I'm a young Tom Sawyer and everyone's mourning my death, and I'm like sitting in the raft going, "Hee hee, I'm alive the whole time." You all thought I was a little scamp and you hated me when I was in life, and now in death you all love me.
Sitting in the rafts of Twitter.com.
That's me. It's like, have you ever seen Heathers?
I have, yes, a long time ago though. I actually watched it.
I always think about the line, "I love my dead gay son," and how cruelly like topical it remains in all walks of life.
Oh, it's aged shockingly well. Not that
Yeah.
new stuff they tried to do, but
I didn't. I heard nothing but bad. There, it's okay.
yeah, not even strong enough for a hate watch. I feel like was when it's so bad, I don't even say, you know what, I might see what this is about just to laugh at it.
Right.
That's really gone wrong.
I'm not going to give a dissertation about Heathers and why. Like the point is the point is that the real. I'm going to say it right now though. The real antagonist of Heathers is not actually the Heathers. It's the patriarchy, and like that's really obvious within the movie, but I think people are, as we are learning now with Squid Game, that people cannot read text in films in movie media.
It's the curse.
Yeah, having not even seen it, I can almost assure you that a death game has anti-capitalist elements to it.
Yeah, I've seen Hunger Games, so I'm like, I'll watch it later.
I've seen Battle Royale. I get the idea.
Exactly.
I guess that's also what I was thinking. Like, of course it gets abstracted. Battle Royale just means you put 100 people on a map and they kill each other now.
Yeah, it sure does. I remember it was so weird when like PUBG was first getting popular, and of course, kind of the first battle royale, but also janky as all hell.
Yeah.
And people think it invented the term, having not heard of battle royale, the novel or the film, which is very strange.
Right. Or even, I think there was even there was everything. There was like 3 movies and a manga and probably an audio drama, I'm sure. But that's so weird. I have like no relationship with battle royales. Never actually. I don't think I've actually played a battle royale in my life.
Oh, no kidding. I mean, it's one of those genres where if you don't have a squad of friends, it's
Yeah,
just garbage. Unless you're one of those hyper competitive people who plays alone, which, just to be clear, I am afraid of you. Get
I
help. Like, I do not understand.
I'm not. I'm not. I used to listen. Everyone, turn off your ears real quick. Let's not. Let's let's pretend I still have a bunch of indie cred. Where I used to say occasionally, I'm like, wow, I should play League of Legends again. But then like, I have no one to play with, so it's not fun.
All right, so this is weird. Again, we are
Yeah.
saying we said earlier that we had a psychic link because you and I emailed each other essentially at
Yes.
almost the
Yeah.
exact
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
I am a big League of Legends fan. It's my guilty pleasure. So
Yeah.
number one, add me. I only play arcade modes.
I
Number two, I've been watching Worlds. So
I
that's
that's what's got me thinking about it again because I've pretty much I also watch League of Legends Worlds and even the LCS. You know, I
Yeah, oh
enjoy
my god, this is so wild.
I enjoy this. Listen, everyone, you don't come for people for liking basketball. All right, this is my basketball.
Yeah, literally exactly that. I was just gonna say, because obviously I've been watching it. And I told myself beforehand, like, okay, I'm not really gonna talk about League of Legends or Cookie Run because like this is the
Yeah,
indie show. I shouldn't. But here we go.
yeah. I've already exposed that I like to play Magic the Gathering and Final Fantasy 14. So I'm listen. People contain multitudes. You know.
Ooh, it's true. It's true.
There are two wolves inside of you. One of them plays
Yes.
obscure psychedelic games about queer fantasies. The other one plays Magic the Gathering.
Exactly. I mean that's me going into any stream. Two wolves fighting inside me. Do I want to play the actually interesting, thoughtfully made indie game I found? Or do I feel like getting kind of brainless, just smacking people around in some other game?
Right. Yes. Exactly. I've like I could play a game I haven't played before, read something I haven't read before. I have my Cassavetes Blu-rays that I haven't watched that I bought. But I'm like, I could. Not all of my Final Fantasy characters are level 80 yet, and
Oh god,
I do like
MMO
numbers
kinda
going
gets
up.
close. Numbers going up does feel pretty good.
But that's a whole I. So I learned something about YouTube, and you don't make money unless you have 1,000 subscribers. Is this
Oh
true?
yes, that is. I think that's true. I'm not as familiar with YouTube, but I do.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna do like fun let's plays on the side instead of doing like radio shows constantly, as I'm kind of like running out of first time guests and don't want to crack too much into. I feel guilty if I keep asking the same people on the show, like I'm wasting their time, or something.
I'm sure they love it.
I'm sure they would, but then if they love it too much, then it starts to become like you start to get too close to becoming friends with them, and then you're like, oh, I don't want to broadcast me just talking to my friends, you know?
Hey, but that's how you get the good synergy, the good banter.
Ah,
that a
yes,
radio show
yes.
has, no?
To let people into my life, I start telling about the houses I buy and the kids I have. The internet starts to learn all of my cats' names.
No.
No, you don't. There's an indeterminate number of cats in this house, and you'll never learn any of their names.
Mm-hmm. Mystery.
I'm a real. It's the endless life of someone who needs to play the online game, but also is like, what if I was just a recluse?
What if I just went into the woods and never came out?
Well, what if I came out to shows and I saw people,
Right.
but the other like 300 days of the year, I was just in Vermont in the woods.
I mean, I feel like that's the dream of every New Englander I've ever spoken to is living in the woods in like upstate New York and then only coming out every few months.
Listen, I'm pretty sure New Englanders have a seething rage for themselves and everybody else.
That is true.
There is night and day if you've been like on the subway in like Boston versus New York, where Boston sometimes unless someone is like loudly playing their K dramas on their phone without headphones on,
Ugh.
you can't hear anything. Like in New York, there's people up and down, up and down, up and down nonstop and talking, and I don't want to hear anything from you. I want everyone to look forwards or down at their phones and not say a word.
I could not imagine.
I couldn't imagine doing it. Yeah, doing it every day. It's like a subway is like a big car to me, and I don't want anyone in that car with me.
No, exactly. I mean, it is so weird. I guess it's like a halfway population density, but a halfway attitude of. I remember like when COVID first broke out, everyone was saying about like the county I live in and some other surrounding ones. How are the COVID numbers so low? And it's like, well, we don't stand next to each other and we don't really
Right.
talk to strangers. Like we're not getting all up on each other, you guys. We have our own cars and whatnot, which
Yeah, it's like,
probably
yeah.
stumbles.
It turns out diseases need to be spread by people being next to each other.
Yeah, wild concept.
And living rurally, it's kind of hard for that to happen. But I would not. I don't wish city. I understand people live city life, but I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
No, exactly. It seems nice and convenient to be able to walk across the street to go to a supermarket, but it's not for me.
Yeah, no, I like being a 40-minute drive from a city.
Yes, I like having to make one trip a week.
Yeah, I like. Well, I could. It's like, oh, if I really need to go something, I can drive to Providence if I need to see a show, and it's only 40 minutes.
Yeah, me in the southern tip of Texas. Oh my gosh, a concert for this band I really like is coming up, and it's only a 7-hour drive. Whoa, what a steal!
What? I'm making my friend, or I'm doing like an overnight, going all the way up to Western Mass to see Godspeed in like 2022, which I think we're just gonna get Airbnb even, like, because they're not playing anywhere near us. What we want to
Yeah,
go.
I mean, that's just the unluckiness. When you're in certain states, you are just kind of screwed when it comes to going to see somebody.
Yeah, we do have like a fairly nice theater in Providence that a lot of smaller bands go to because it's a smaller theater, and I also don't go see stadium shows anyway, so it doesn't bother me, and I like it. I saw Phantom of the Paradise. That was the last thing I went to there, which was have you ever seen Phantom of the Paradise?
I have not.
It's a real treat if you ever find the time.
What's the vibe? What is it?
It's a rock opera based. It's kind of like this.
Okay.
It's like this. It's kind of like Faust meets Phantom of the Opera, and it's a rock opera. It's a
Not be
treat.
mad about it. Yeah.
The dude looks amazing. Like the Phantom's main costume is a special treat, and I'll get it on the stream.
I was gonna say, let me look this up.
But I need to make sure everyone. Somebody was saying that it was like the person who introed it said like this is the kind of movie that somebody shows you, and I was like, it is. That is like a genre of movie, I think. And this is that.
Ones that you're only shown by other people.
Yeah. Lois, have you ever had like a movie or something that you felt like you needed to show to somebody?
Yes, all the time, honestly. Especially because going into that whole nebulous world of like high concept versus low concept. There's some things where you can't say stuff. You just have to say, "You're my friend. I know you. You know me. You just have to trust me." So,
what's your most self-indulgent go-to that you feel like you need to have somebody see?
ooh, I mean, it's funny because I'm gonna watch it tonight and make a bunch of people see it, but it is John Carpenter's The Thing. Because it's obviously like one of the more famous and well-liked horror movies ever. But it's, am I allowed to swear?
You are. You're allowed to say all the words, all the inoffensive words.
Oh, I was gonna say it is fucking disgusting.
Yes,
like,
yes.
It's so rancid. Where I warn people, like, look, it's a lot, but it's great.
I love gross practical effects so much.
Yes. Have you seen Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by chance?
No, I haven't.
I will always peddle that one to people because it came out more recently, and I feel like horror recently has been kind of a bummer in terms of releases, and it's PG-13, which I find quite impressive. And
Okay.
yeah, it's a lot of practical effects and just a lot of good body horror.
Yeah, I enjoy. I am a big proponent of body horror. Says a lot about people. It's we're
Uh-huh.
all scared of our own bodies and things they do. I like David Cronenberg and his
He's
gross.
he's also a lot.
He is a lot, and
He might be the most.
I like how a lot he is.
Hmm. Is he he's the Scanners director, right?
Yes,
As
he is
well,
scanners. Yeah,
with the shotgun full of chicken giblets that they use.
I did not know what they used. I've that is
That
beautiful.
is
I did not know that.
Yeah, the head exploding scene is them loading a shotgun full of chicken chunks and just going to town on some poor mannequin thingy.
That's a real treat. And on that visual,
Whoops.
um, um, we're gonna go on break, and we'll be back with the group, and then we might just keep talking about horror movies because
Yeah, I mean it's the season.
it's the season, and I've grown like a fondness for them. I have a strange fun. We'll get into my fondness for horror movies and my particular obsession with those kinds of things in a moment. And then my time being low, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have it. We'll be back in 3 minutes and 2 seconds. About goodbye. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. We're all here. It's the big group sesh. I even brought the Phantom with me. This what a costume. What a look.
It is pretty fabulous.
Fucking steal his look. You know what I'm saying? All you need to do is you can't see it in this, but he also has metal teeth because he has his teeth taken out because of Andy Williams is the devil. But anyway, I'm gonna put the Phantom. If you like that movie, I'm gonna say it's touring around with a very special edition of it. You should watch. You should try to get a view of that very special edition of that movie. It's like a special live viewing only version,
Hmm.
and it's very cool. I don't know where the tour started, where it's going, but would recommend when you get those special live only cuts. Like when I was like, I think that's one of the cool things. If you go to Mountain Goat shows, sometimes you get the real weird deep cuts. Like for the Krishna, I think when I went, I saw he played like for the Krishna Core Punks, which was like a newsletter only song or something. I don't know.
That's wild.
He plays a lot of. I think there's like a special like hometown song that only is played in the hometown, and it's like people respect that you can't even record it. It's not available anywhere.
That is sweet though. Make a live show special.
Yeah, I kind of like. I both respect like the Internet Archive and record everything, but also art in the moment and kind of inaccessible art, I guess.
Yeah, it's a hard balance to strike, I think.
As so who's making like my weird RPG Maker chain game where nobody can play that except the people who are making it. And maybe the people who they share their specific version with. But then I really want to make. I think I'm gonna put up a page to see if people will pay for it and how to make like bespoke RPG Maker 2 games, and I'll send them a file to play online and a memory card. And this is me talking out loud, so I'll force myself to do it.
I mean, it sounds like an interesting project. It sounds difficult though. But
Yeah,
that's
I was
just
kind of, I was kind of getting a grasp of it as I was going through it, and I was like, "Oh, it's amazing what you can do with like role-playing game experience, which is a tabletop role-playing game experience, and how much you can kind of flesh out the world very quickly with dumb bullshit and make it feel kind of lived in."
Sometimes even random bullshit.
Yeah, just as long as you have enough proper nouns.
Yeah.
people are like, I kind of get what the plot. You throw a couple of proper nouns down, you kind of gesture towards the plot, and people will fill in the blanks themselves.
It's true.
I like to think, at least.
Hey,
Nice.
people love some imagined subtext. Let's get them onto imagined text too.
Yeah. Whoa. Let's not go so far. That's why I like side characters in large things, is because I can imagine better versions of them because they don't have any screen time.
Right, exactly.
It's like I realized that why when I was growing up, all of my favorite shonen characters were like the B or C tier characters. It was because I didn't spend enough time with them for them to become mediocre.
Right.
So it's like they had a cool costume and a thing. His fireball was the cool fireball, and yeah. But anyway. So, speaking, where was it? We were talking about horror. We were talking about, oh yeah, Hellraiser also has a lot of real grossness in that first movie. Like,
Yeah.
it's real gross, and I kind of a lot of flesh tearing. And it's a real forgotten era, you know.
Yeah, I guess it would be 70s to 80s, but mostly 80s era of how far can we go with practical effects? It was
Yeah.
really something. Some of it got to be a little bit too much, at least for me personally, but I'm glad that they just went for it, like full tilt.
What is your upper limit? Like, what is too much for you?
I think nothing will like fully gross me out and make me, walk out of the proverbial theater. But
Yeah.
there's times when I'm just, ugh. Like I think it's Night of the Living Dead where they just rip that dude's chest open.
Okay.
I want to say, and that is hard to watch because I mean that one's really well done. He falls on the floor. They like tear his shirt open. You're looking
Yeah.
at his face and the zombie, so you can't tell that it's not real skin. And they just tear him open. They're chewing on that raw meat. Ugh.
I saw that movie in the theaters fairly recent, pre-COVID.
Right.
I think it was the last pre-COVID movie I saw, and I was like, "Wow, this is a cool zombie movie," because when you like don't have all of the baggage of what zombies are.
Mm-hmm.
I also didn't realize that line, like where it's like, oh, fuck, what's her name? What's the lady's name that they're coming to
I don't
get?
know. It's been too long.
Anyway, at one point they're coming to get you, and all I can think of is Clarice.
Oh,
Because
Barbara?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
yes, Barbara. Yes, thank you, Rana, with the save. And I had seen that in pop culture like since then as characters in horror movies joking around, and I did not realize that in the original movie it is in fact a joke. The guy is joking around. It's not a line delivered in seriousness. Perhaps in like foreboding after the fact, but in the moment.
Right. Narrative seriousness, perhaps.
Yeah. They are coming to get Barbara. Anyway, that's a cool movie. Bold claims on Indiepocalypse Radio. Night of the Living Dead is a cool movie.
Bold claims like, yeah, it's pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, we're like really delivering nothing but like hot takes on Indiepocalypse, nonstop hot takes. I don't have the energy for hot takes, you know. It just seems exhausting because I also don't know what is a hot take or not. I suppose.
Yeah, that's the weird thing, isn't it? Especially with games, you will have something that you just think is the most innocuous, and apparently it's a hot take, or even vice versa.
Yeah. So it's like when people are pointing all those swords at me, I don't know what to tell them. I'm like, I don't know. I thought that Lord of the Rings game was boring.
I'm sorry that I said Ocarina of Time has aged.
That's aged. It's got
that's it.
Yeah.
It got older because that's what happens, and people go,
huh? You mean aged perfectly, right? Aged like a fine. No, I've shown it's. I really do appreciate that like era of polygonal graphics, and I like that it's sort of coming back, but then I also get kind of annoyed when it's just like clearly a shader thrown on way more high res models.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
I
it's
can go ahead.
no, I was gonna say it can still look nice, but I kind of go the whole way, even though it's a lot harder to do.
Yeah, that's fair. I can appreciate it as someone who like tends to have vision issues, where a lot of games that go for that style will let you toggle on the high res mode. So I'm like, oh, I can see. Like I
Oh,
love the
perfect.
aesthetic, but if I'm looking for something, then I can just plop that on, and I love that option recently. I think the Chameleon.
Okay, that is a game I am familiar with in name and
Yeah, I've only
broad.
played a chunk.
I it takes me a lot of time to play video games. I'm playing all these ones every month for this magazine.
True. I'm also just very bad at stealth games, to be to be perfectly honest.
Oh,
Arguably the genre I'm like the weakest in.
I have an endless affection for stealth games. There's like a puzzle solving element to it that I enjoy, and then I get
Yeah, I'm just
frustrated when I
bad.
don't understand. Like it's like I feel like the rules aren't properly conveyed, or it's like I had
In
that.
Dishonored, I've been playing that recently, and I accidentally killed someone just because I dragged their body and it hit a like wooden pellet, and that's enough for the game to say, actually, this person's dead now.
What?
That
That's a rough one.
yeah, that's a bit of an extreme approach. I've also, I played through that a while ago, and that's like, yes, perfect. Thank you for this weird stealth game that I love. This is the kind of thing I'm looking for. I want to be able to. I want to have a lot of options, so I can like
Mhm.
teleport all over the place. And I've thought about going through those games as Wild Murder Junkies before, because it seems like it could also be fun. But no, that's not the proper way. It's all about ironic twists and punishments. Because I only did that once where I just went like truly evil in a game when I was playing the second Infamous, where I was like, oh, I don't care about
Oh
this
yeah.
game's I don't care about this game's story. And
Well, and I mean, if I remember Infamous correctly, the evil powers are just a lot more fun.
yes, I was like, these seem way more fun, and I don't care about like being a villain or whatever. But it's like it's a really strange also like how it bends over backwards to pretend you're not like like a ruthless mass murderer.
Hmm.
Like the game doesn't account for you to be that kind of thing. Like it,
No, clearly somehow didn't expect that from gamers when I do believe Prototype predates it, which the whole
yeah,
point is to be an open world mass murderer who can fly. And Infamous said, "Hey, what if you were in an open world and you could fly?" And somehow somehow something got confused a little.
yeah. That's it's a weird. I encountered like it's the same situation I think where people are like they're clearly writing for one. Have you ever played Dragon's Dogma?
I have not. I have seen a lot of playthroughs of it.
I love that is one of my games where it's like I fully admit that's not a perfect game, but I adore it immensely,
Hmm.
and it is 100% not for everybody. But anyway, but like there's a plot beat where there's like a king and a queen, and like you can have like an affair with the queen or something, like
Yes.
regardless of player gender, and it's like that's neat, but also it's clearly because they designed it probably with men in mind, and
Yeah.
then you're
Very.
like,
What is it? Call of Duty 3, the one where they go to space.
no, wait, what about what now?
Just in there's too many Call of Duty, so I don't remember
Yeah.
which one it is, but Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 or Black Ops 4 or something like that.
Okay.
They go to space and you kind of have a relationship with some female character. Obviously, all the Call of Duty games are designed like for boys in quotation marks, whatever that means.
Yeah.
For the first time, you could play as a female character, so they accidentally made something gay, and it's like that's fun, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Same exact feelings in Dragon's Dogma. I was like, because I played as a lady. I'm like, my super tall lady plays a giant lady, which was like, I don't know what it says about me that that's my like second one of my default characters to make in character creators, but yeah, it was like a weird thing. It's like, oh, is this people not bothering to change code, or is this queer representation? Who can tell?
I'd
Nah.
like to believe, but I don't know if I do.
No, I'm sure that someone's like, we made this plot beat, but what about ladies? Don't worry about it. Who's going to play a lady?
I don't even know if the thought process got that far.
Yeah.
Like, it'd have to be more work to write a whole other thing and code it in. Like, whatever.
Right. But, there was my giant lady caught in her bedroom in the middle of the night by a court jester.
It was the whole thing with, like, how The Sims included same-sex relationships. Partially by accident, but partially also because they were getting, like, Maxis was getting a lot of heat because of a previous incident where, like, a gay employee on Simcopter.
Yeah, there was... What was it? I forget what the thing was, but wasn't that the same guy who, like, eventually was the one who, like, put it into The Sims?
I think so. I don't really remember much. I remember there was, like, a Easter egg where, like, there was in Simcopter there would be a bunch of, like, shirtless men running around with, like, body paint or something.
Yeah. That sounds right. Like you put in the correct password as you do in video games. Really, like, sneak it in there, and luckily, modern game developers are good at giving crumbs here and there. So it's like your character. Congratulations, the character in your class-based shooter which doesn't actually have a story. But let me tell you something. The people.
Let me tell you something in random lore that can only be accessed in certain countries if you go to the correct page.
Let me say on my English Twitter account that they don't know what to think about their gender, if you know what I'm saying. Large corporate. Whatever. It's for children. It further cements that that's art for children, because I realized that. I was like, wait, if you make stuff for adults, people can just, like, be gay all the time because it's for adults. You don't have to worry about censoring work for adults. Anyway, it's for children is what I'm saying. I think it's one of those situations where I think watching 6 Feet Under in high school really warped my worldview, where I was like, I can just watch Michael C. Hall bone dudes, like, nonstop for, like, 6 seasons or whatever. And that's what television can be. And the rest of you, take your unique gay moments and put them in the front page of Variety or whatever, where they belong. I don't know. That's Andrew's soapbox. I'm getting off of it. I'm tired of empty. I guess I'm tired of representation, I suppose.
Right.
Capital R representation.
Representation TF. No, I agree completely. Especially as a streamer, so I'll have a lot of people come in and be excited about it, and I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's great that you're so excited. I don't know how to be polite about this, so I'm just gonna move on.
Wow, I see you're playing League of Legends. Did you know if you go 5 pages into their website, into their lore section, and dig into the archives, one of those characters looked at another lady once? And
went, did you know if you happen to play Nico, who is an extremely infantilized female character, against Evelyn, who's a succubus, she will comment on how big her titties are, and that means that she's a lesbian? Wow. Aren't you happy, Lotus, because you're a lesbian?
Wow, you're just winning nonstop, from what I hear.
Hey, if there's one thing lesbians do in video games, it is win.
Yes.
There's so much.
It's not top of the leaderboards every time. It's like, I want to get high scores in these video games, but there's all these lesbians everywhere getting all these high scores. What do I know? But anyway, what a mess things are. But I guess
before that becomes a third rant.
Yeah, I guess if you do that, you can sell Pride stickers during June. So
that's true.
You can sell rainbow emotes. It was Anyway, whatever. Maybe I'm just like too old for this kind of like corporate pride or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't care, dude. I just want to be a guy and just chill, you know?
I don't think you're too old. I don't think anyone's too old to call out a brand on their nonsense.
Yeah, I guess. But sometimes when you calling out a brand on nonsense, it feels like you're punching down. Like, oh, like I appreciate it. It's like I'm seeing me in that emote. And I'm like, I see me in how I look at people, I suppose. I don't know. It's how you. I guess it's how you approach yourself, and I'm very inward or something. Anyway, whatever. We're pride's over. We can't talk about this kind of thing anymore. I'm sorry, everyone. I have to wait 8 more months before I can go on.
Can only do Halloween content.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
We can only talk about how, like, I mean, let's be honest. Horror is queer coded,
Mhm.
or queer people love horror because it reminds them of the existential dread around them that surrounds their entire existence.
It's true. I mean, horror's kind of always been that way to a
Yeah.
certain extent. If not by queer people, then against queer people. And then we said, yeah, but what if it was also mine though? What if I just liked it? How
Yeah.
about that?
Right. And then people, those people who I think when people were saying that people were getting bad about trans Pinhead, I think people were making up a guy. I don't think there's anyone who's actually.
I agree.
Like. Maybe if the only disappointment was like, oh, I wish the same original actor was still doing it, but like, from like a, I guess if it's like people are thinking Hellraiser's too woke, no one tell them who Clive Barker is.
Yeah. Don't mention it.
Don't mention what Clive Barker's interests are.
What happens with a lot of those like make up a guy thing is someone will see one person with 50 followers say, like, I hate that this exists, and they say, so people are saying that da da da, and then it whips up a whole frenzy. I mean, I feel like it's been happening a lot more recently.
Yeah, it gets kind of. I read an article I feel like years ago where someone showed is like there was like a stupid name for a lipstick, and she made a joke about it, and then like that happened. And it kind of like then like content mills picked it up and they spiraled fake outrage into. They just basically started peddling fake outrage. There was a Twitter account. I learned that they just keep doing this because I saw people dunking on something. And I was like, what is? They're dunking on a blocked account. And occasionally I like to see what the blocked account is.
Oh, right. You gotta do the whole open and new tab kind of thing.
And it's this guy who just like has like 1,000 followers and makes these like million view things where it's like, I can't believe you can't break a watermelon in this modern video game. Video games are dead.
Right, yeah.
And then it'll get like...
can't interact with the environment and blah, 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 that it's trash.
And they'll get 3 million views because everyone wants to quote tweet on and dunk on and show how clever they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the point, everyone. You got trapped. You got tricked.
Dunk is always a trick. I'm afraid it's always embarrassing to dunk on somebody on Twitter, unless it is a direct colleague of yours, in which case it's very...
It's always a trap to dunk on Twitter. You know how you dunk on Twitter is you bring it into your Discord with your friends, and then you dunk on it there.
True, that's very true. Is you send the horrible thing to someone who has the exact same interests as you, and you say, "Can you believe this?"
Yeah, it's like that is the secret, because then you don't give them any more hits. You don't give them what they want.
I'll send a screenshot. That's how much I don't want you to have page views.
Yeah, and like, because that account, it seemed like that is like exclusively what they do. Like they must have done it once and it got like 1 million views, so they just kept doing it. And like that's their whole thing, I think. But I guess I don't know how Twitter works. It clearly doesn't get that many followers, and Twitter doesn't have ad revenue. But
no, it's just about the cloud. I think at a certain point, like, oh look, which to be fair, like we said earlier, seeing number go up does make the brain happy. So I can understand it to an extent.
Yeah,
like that.
there is a certain part of me that gets a little bit of satisfaction out of like, well, now that I have an audience, I can post things and always get a like or two.
Right, yeah. We
And,
just want social interaction and approval as human
yeah,
beings.
but now that events are opening back up, I can get it there, and I don't have to go online. I don't need to. I
Yes.
also I can just invite people to a radio show and talk to them about it.
Hey, true.
And this is my social interaction for the week. Call it a day and be like, talked, chatted, chased my clout all the way to the bank here, cashed it in, hit the curb on the way out, lost half my clout,
No.
had to spend even more clout to fix my Twitter SEO. Oh, I
Oh,
I
better.
I hope I never make a mistake because I don't want to have to make the letterhead where I have my Indiepocalypse letterhead and my apology letter. Why do? Okay, serious question. Why do people do that? Like,
That's a great question. I wish I could answer for you. I can only
like,
think of like the Notes app apologies.
yeah, like there. I saw this indie studio who had like a shitty artist, and like they made one of those things of like, oh, we apologize for this thing. And they're like, why can't you just post like, the dude's fucking gone?
I would respect someone actually saying, "Yo, that dude sucked. He's gone."
Yeah, like why is there like, I think there's like too much emphasis on like professionalism. I think, and people just need to like
Yeah.
just to chill out a little.
Especially, I can understand it if the corporate accounts kind of entire
Right,
thing is maintaining a very professional aura. But a lot of the times, this is from accounts who are regularly posting memes.
right,
So
right.
it's always a really strange juxtaposition. I understand that it's a serious topic and it should be handled somewhat seriously,
Yeah, but
but you don't need to bust out the thesaurus.
yeah, your corporate account is the brand account you made for the thing that you do when you're not working your day job already. Like,
Right.
not listen, folks. Not everybody needs a brand account. You know, just cycle it back a little. You have 2,000 Twitter followers. Do you really need a brand account that has 150?
Exactly. If you need to organize yourself, get into that. Also, make an alt account so I don't have to see your dunks on main, please.
Yeah, right. It's just like become a better poster. All right, downsize the bullshit. And yeah, anyway, I'm just
Ooh, I love
being
that slogan. Downsize the bullshit.
I'm just being mean to people on Twitter. It's just subtweeting.
Yeah, well,
Anyway,
I'll allow it.
yeah. One of these days I'll become popular enough that I can start saying people's names, and I think it's important. I think healthy disagreement is good once you realize that disagreement is not a personal attack.
Right.
When people can like dislike something you do and be like, why do they hate me?
Why do they hate me as an individual person?
Right. They don't like my game. Why are they trying to burn my house down? It's like, no, they just think your game is bad. I dislike plenty of games and think they look bad. I think a recent extreme sports title looks terrible and corny at best. But if you say that online, I can already hear the wagons turning into a circle in front of me.
You can hear the people searching by the name of a certain very popular video game made by a certain very large corporation.
Right.
coming through.
I can hear people already knowing, oh, I have to defend my indie friend against someone because they said their game that doesn't look funny and plays bad is bad or disinteresting. Anyway, I'm getting too close to naming names and causing drama or something. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. It just comes up every now and then. I'm sick of seeing this thing. I'm sick of seeing cute talking. If I never see the word heckin' again in my life, I will have lived a full life.
Oh, you don't even get me started. If I don't have to see a wholesome, comfy, cute, chaotic ever again. Sorry, no, I think that's the wrong order. Wholesome, comfy, cozy, chaotic, or something like that.
Yeah,
I think I can live happy.
You can. Let's talk about these wolves again. Let's circle back to the wolves. One of those wolves is gentle. You can sleep on it. It's like your best friend. The other one will tear your face off, and it's perfectly fine for both of them to live on the side of you. You don't need to. I had a whole. I had a. I occasionally have jokes that I'm very self-satisfied with that get like one like, and I'm like, you bastards don't understand. Smithereens is very funny.
You don't understand humor.
Are either of you familiar with Smithereens, the movie?
I am not, I'm afraid.
Never mind then. I made a very good.
I think I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
It's good.
Just-
It's about like a real self-important pathological liar, terrible woman living in New York, and she's great and terrible, but I love it.
I see. I thought it was a portmanteau of Mr. Smithers and Halloween.
That would also be good. No, I was thinking
Speaking of gay horror.
there was someone about there was like a discourse at some point about people like disliking characters who make bad decisions or something, and I was like, what's my favorite character who makes a lot of terrible decisions and it would be insufferable to be around? And Ren from Smithereens came quickly to mind. It's like, yeah, she's terrible, but I love her. I've met people like that, and I will meet more people in the future like that. It's why I have. I mean, that's also like. Anyway, I perhaps speaking to a full choir when I'd say I have a particular annoyance with like perfect female characters. I suppose it feels like the opposite version of like terribly written ones with people where they're just like too good at things.
No, I know what you mean. Especially if you hear the infamous line, "Oh, I had 6 older brothers growing up, so that's why I know how to do all of this." Like, ugh.
Yeah, I very famous popular Let's Play podcast features its female cast is exclusively better than the boys, and it bothered me immensely. Especially when you see things made by women. And let me tell you something. They're not all perfect people, as it turns out. And they're like, weird how, if this is perfect female representation in media, why aren't the women doing it? Why are the women making gross fuck-ups?
Right, yeah.
Clearly, they must hate themselves. Anyway, as your representation TM, we're coming back. From a different angle to piss me off, but
repeatedly, if I think I understand what you're talking about, in many ways, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it always comes back. But anyway, I could talk here forever, and I often will if people don't stop me. Because I don't know. I mean, I learned the hard way that I could do this for 8 hours straight when I did my live stream.
I was gonna say I did not know how long that was going to be. I remember coming back at like the evening, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, I decided to do I was like, people do 24-hour live streams to raise money for charity. What if I did an 8-hour live stream to raise money for myself?
I mean, hey, subathons are a real thing, which is basically exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like it was literally 9 to 5. It was a work day. Clocked in and I clocked out, and I try to like really work. See, the secret to burnout is if you feel like you're burning out, you're already too far gone. And you
as someone who's done a couple 24 hours, by the time you think that you have a problem, the problem has already come back in the form of a larger problem. I recently watched a couple 24-hour streams, and I feel like
it would be fun to do with another person, but they would have to be like physically in the room with me.
I feel that. That
I
seems
can't imagine like doing it alone or like over the internet.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. I'm a very like type A schedule laden sort of person.
Okay.
So anytime I've done a 24-hour, it has been like perfectly planned out. And for like I'll do single player for a while, then switch to multiplayer, and I've like contacted everyone ahead of time, like, okay, at this time we're all gonna play this game together. Like I'll call you and blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
I think mixing it up makes it a little bit easier to do. But
Yes.
definitely would be nice to have a couple people. Like some of my favorite streamers, because there's two of them, Between Two Gays, they're a couple, and so they will do marathons, and it'll just be the two of them like switching off so the other one can like rest, which I think is really smart.
That is. While we're on Twitch and people can find them, do you want to give them, as they say, shout outs?
Oh yeah, they are at Between Two Gays, all one word. They are lovely, especially if you like things like Planet Zoo, platformers, and Metroidvanias. I think Jason is playing through Metroid.
Okay,
I was hang out there in the afternoon.
One of the most recent commissioned game for Indiepocalypse was a Metroidvania.
Ooh.
And when I was showing it off, because the character jumped, a guy at the show was like, "It's just like Mario." He's like, "Yo, this is Mario," and I'm like, "Because he jumps."
What's the
She
meme?
jumps?
Guy who's only ever played Mario voice? Getting some real Mario vibes from this.
Precisely, yes. That truly, that is like that's you could put that in like dissertations and scientific studies. That was like a tweet for the ages.
Oh yeah, evergreen. I plan to continue to use it. Similar to what's the one? If you insist on tagging me in your reply, please do not embarrass me.
Yes, it's
never not useful.
I aggressively untag people in replies. I
won't talk to a single person except for the person I have to tag, and if you see it, you see it.
Exactly. That is, you have to respect people, and as someone who hates getting tagged in things, and it's like, no, just cut me out. I don't want to be part of your conversation. I don't. It's not real life where I can just walk away when I'm sick of listening to you.
Just vacate the premises. I'm over this.
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times. That's how I leave events. I just walk away. But
fair. Turn the radio up a little bit higher.
Yeah. What unfortunate. I would never wish I have a tweet blow up on anyone. I would never wish. There's one tweet that I want to blow up. It's when I tell people to buy the zine, or when I make a really good joke about when I have a joke. I've one sitting in my drafts that is like exclusively for me. I have too many jokes that are like exclusively for me, you know.
You and like 3 other people on Twitter who it may or may not reach. No, I feel that.
Yeah, I have this one this joke about. Are you familiar with the LCD Sound System song "Losing My Edge"?
I'm afraid I'm not yet again.
Are you familiar with the Net Your Rose? I'm
afraid I'm not yet again.
Are you familiar with Art Dink?
You know?
Yes?
No. Sorry. I'm sorry to bait you like that. But the
fooled.
Right.
Yeah, so this is not for you then. You would look and go, I don't get it. And I would be like, ugh! Nobody gets it, but it's clever. Anyway, but that's why you have friends, because you can tell your friends those things, because your friends, you presume, know which ones you know what you're talking about, you know?
Right, yeah. It's me watching the handful of people I follow who are giant fans of the Myst series posting memes about Myst and Riven. And I don't know what's going on, but I'm happy that they're having a good time.
My experience is that I bought Riven as a child because I had 5 discs, and that was more than Final Fantasy had, and it was cool. This was on the PlayStation 1, of course.
Uh-huh.
You took it out, and the thing folded open. They had like it had a door within the doors. And
No, that's cool.
I was like, what? It must be the coolest game because it has so many discs. It was not. I didn't understand it. I don't think I ever even really played it. But I do. I don't. I have really like an affection though for FMV. I've really developed an affection for FMV games.
They are so oddly charming. I don't know what, because they're somehow completely very, very far in the uncanny valley while also still being extremely charming. I don't know how they manage that. That seems like concepts that shouldn't go together, but they're very enjoyable.
Yeah,
if PS1 graphics are making a comeback, I would like FMVs to make one as well.
That, yes. Listen, we all have phones.
I think I really like the amateur theater.
Yes.
Sorry. I think I just like the amateur theater acting aspect of it.
Yes.
Yes, the Shakespeare in the Park aspect of it.
And the fact that even very well-known actors bring that same, no matter how famous the actor is, they all bring that same energy.
No, yeah.
I just finished. I also don't play them because they're nightmares to play because they're like mid-90s, early aughts adventure games. But I just watched Ripper, and it's a real treat. I highly recommend Ripper through your favorite streamer or Let's Player.
I've looked into that one.
It's about Jack the Ripper, but like
okay.
Cyber Jack the Ripper.
Oh, I have heard of this. No, now it sounds familiar.
Yeah. It's got Christopher Walken in it.
Is it the one with multiple endings?
Yes. Yeah, they're very disappointing endings.
Oh, that's rough.
They're like barely multiple. But it's kind of cool anyway. It's a real tour de force of acting. It's still no Phantasmagoria, a puzzle of flesh, which is
one I was thinking of.
I love that game endlessly.
It is so, for lack of a better word, bizarre. I can't exactly call it a horror thing.
Yeah.
But it is, but I don't. But it's not. I don't know. It's in a genre of its own that it may or may not have invented.
Yeah, it's when we talk about representation TM. Curtis Craig is video game's only true bicon, honestly.
I would agree with that actually.
Fucking wow, I kind of like both my coworkers, and I wear a gray shirt everywhere, and I'm just like a dude who likes ladies and dudes, as it turns out. It's like, man, Curtis, you and me, brother, on a wavelength.
A character who speaks as if they are giving a Mavis Beacon teaches typing tutorial.
Yeah, I have better fashion, I think, than Curtis Craig. But I had a gray shirt phase in my life.
Tucked into the jeans with a brown belt.
Never tucked in, but not too dissimilar from maybe it was like a uncanny like foretelling of my future. Had I known earlier as a child.
Never bought that gray shirt. This would have all be different.
Yes, I would have learned at such a young age, rather than learning on clues when you're younger, where it's like, yes, toxic masculinity keeps a lot of stuff down, you know? It's a hell of a drug. But, you can escape it, folks. It's not, it seems real overwhelming.
It's not too late.
It's never too late. And then you're like, wow, you can just do anything you want.
Oh my God, I can just live my life?
Yeah, all this stuff is made up, The beauty of humans is that everything about us is defying our baked-in biology.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the whole thing that humans are, isn't it? We're not whales.
I think all of us live within climates and regions that are trying to kill us fairly regularly. Whether it be through,
I do think about like Phoenix, Arizona, and the way it shouldn't entirely exist as a city where a lot of people live.
Yeah,
but it sure does.
Nothing about deserts says human beings.
Yeah. very specific deserts and relatively, or comparatively, I should say, small amounts of people. But
Yeah,
not a metropolis.
if we were like those little lizards that run really fast, then yes, big fans
If
of
human
those
beings
guys.
could scamper, we'd be unstoppable.
Yeah. Oh, if we only could scamper a little better. But we haven't got there yet. But anyway, we're. I know it's 2 hours live. We're only half record. But I got to on Phantasmagoria again and thinking about gross FMV and how it kind of like ticks the same box that bad horror does, where it's like it's got its own mythology, but it's like not good enough.
Yeah, it has that odd charm of practical effects, I think, where everybody knows it's fake, but the camera's winking at you and you're winking at the camera, that you're all
Yeah.
going to pretend that it's very real and very serious, but you're also kind of laughing inside.
There's people like trying. I think it's that there's people trying something.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's beauty to effort.
There's beauty in earnestness and actually liking the thing that you're doing.
That's the it's the pleasure of like a Neil Breen, you know, and it's just a real estate guy who thought he was a movie maker. He continues to think. If I had enough money, I'm trying to think what, like, if I had like a perfect, like a lot of money, and I could say like, here's my Criterion Collection style like opening salvo of like what releases I could have if I had like both enough money to produce like these really cool elaborate like versions with all sorts of interviews and special features, and also I could wrestle the rights from whoever had them so I could sell them in this manner. I think it would be like Phantasmagoria 2, Yume Nikki, and like I feel like there was one other and I forgot what it was, but it was like definitely those two I would want to be like, no, these games are important and worth preserving forever.
That's fair. You're not gonna deliver any of them to the Pope, are you?
No, I'll try not to.
You'll try to make sure they stay out of his hands.
Yeah. I never know what that guy's up to. I never know where he stands, you know?
His hat is so big because it's full of secrets.
I don't check in with him nearly enough.
You make it sound like he's like your grandfather.
I mean, I don't.
I never call.
I don't know. Like, having grown up, I don't know if I was in the right denomination. That I was technically, he is my religious grandfather or whatever.
Oh, true.
It's one of those situations where it's like you grow up kind of adjacent to a religion until everyone in your family just gets bored of it.
Yes, exactly.
Until you stop going to CCD as daycare because you don't need to anymore. And you can just go home on your own.
Yes, because you're allowed to walk home or ride the bus by yourself or whatever.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, nobody in your family wants to go to church anymore, so we just stop. That level of like American Catholicism or Christianity, where it's just like out of obligation until someone gets bored of it. But yeah, the Pope don't know who's the boss of. I remember there was. Anyway, I just for some reason I remember there was a hot Pope once, like a TV show that was the point of it, but I think.
Yeah, with Jude Law, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't know if Jude Law's a hot Pope. I don't remember what Jude Law looks like.
I mean, fans of television will tell you any guy is hot, and you'll just
Yeah.
have to believe.
They will, but then I'll look at him and I'm like, they look like the same three guys.
Yes, I just go, okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, like yes. Teen track is very weird, and like, okay, listen, maybe not in their in their, I was gonna say their twilight days, but that's actually very appropriate for me to say that their twilight days. I would have thought nothing of them, but modern day, let me tell you about Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson. Man, what a treat! What a just art weirdos. Like
Yeah, pretty unhinged, I have to say.
beautiful trajectories for the two of them.
And you have to think the Twilight did that to them.
Yes,
I like to imagine if they had, grown up and lived life completely average, they would be just painfully boring. But Twilight did something.
yeah, they're like we're the most popular, and everyone like hates us. First, also,
Oh yeah, I can't imagine having to deal with that though as a young adult.
yeah. So instead, they're just like, well, I'm just gonna make weird art movies all the time, and they make good ones. I like The Lighthouse. Yeah, I like Personal Shopper. But anyway, movies, horror, video games. Well, I got to ask. I forgot to ask. What's your feelings on Leonard Cohen's Suzanne?
Oh, that's right. I quite enjoy it. It reminds me of, I feel like when you're growing up, you always have it's either your parent or someone else's dad
Yeah.
who only listens to one radio station, and it's like the oldies station. They play the same songs every day. It's giving me that, but in an enjoyable way. Like I could imagine myself sitting in the back of a kind of like cramped pickup truck and listening to it.
Yeah, it is from 1968, I believe.
Hey, that counts.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to say the last version of Suzanne. I forgot that it was by Parasites, by the way. Forgot to mention that off at the top of the segment. I've been good at it, but I forgot. Anyway, I like Leonard Cohen. He's the guy. He's the guy who wrote Hallelujah, the song from Shrek. Though he did not. That is not his performance. That is like the Rufus Wainwright performance, I believe.
Oh, the Shrek soundtrack. What a masterpiece.
Yeah, it features the theme song from Freaks and Geeks. Other fucking all-star, man. What a Shrek. What a weird thing Shrek is, What a bizarre
What a
culture.
moment.
What a bizarre cultural artifact that Shrek is.
It's strange because of the level to which it holds up, which I feel like it shouldn't. Like in the rules of the universe, I feel like it should be really bad, and it's not.
Yeah. I was watching. Don't ask me how I got into this. So I was watching clips from Cat in the Hat,
Uh-huh.
the Michael Myers movie.
I know the one. I remember watching it in school and being like, what is happening?
And Mike Myers is he's a charismatic performer, honestly. I'm like, all right, there's a reason he's a famous actor. This movie is unhinged. And I have no idea why anyone made it.
So weird, because I want to say it came out after the Grinch, the live action Grinch with I want to say Terry. So
Yeah.
I could understand why you would say, okay, well, we'll also do the Cat in the Hat and make it unhinged, but it's like a little too off the wall.
Yeah.
Something feels genuinely sinister about like every frame of that film. It is so scary for some reason.
It's like someone gave Mike Myers they just let him improv, it seems like, or something, and just they shot around him just making things up. And I think that movie, I'm gonna put my flag in. That movie might get a second life, some years down the road, and people might appreciate it as a truly utterly bizarre film.
I see whispers of it on occasion, because I suppose, for lack of a better word, it's very memeable.
Yeah. It
feels like a found footage film almost. It feels like a guerrilla shot horror film of someone's terrible boss. I don't even know how to go about describing it.
Yeah. I only saw clips of it even, and I can't imagine watching that whole movie.
No, and I so distinctly remember watching it in school, because obviously Dr. Seuss is Dr. Seuss, so they said,
Right.
hey, we'll just put it on, substitute teacher, and just sitting there and just sitting there in confusion and a little bit of fear.
My school's go-to was Finding Nemo
Mm-hmm.
for the like no matter what class it seemed. Oh, there's fish, so we can watch this in biology. It's something to do. I'm pretty sure I've seen Buscando a Nemo more times than any Pixar film.
It's a good film. I don't think I've ever actually watched it in Spanish. Maybe I should get around to that.
I think that might have been maybe that was the only Spanish film my school had.
Oh, that might do it.
But I've seen that movie in Spanish quite a few times. And I don't know, maybe it helped me to learn Spanish.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, school Spanish is never gonna teach you nothing. I
No.
say as someone who kind of speaks Spanish, but for whom school has only made it worse.
Yeah, when I took it in high school, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of like very functionally passable in Spanish. And then there's a guy who's like couldn't grasp any part of it. I'm like, how did you make it to college like 301 Spanish and like not know how to speak Spanish at all?
Those 101 teachers will just not tell you a thing.
Yeah, it wasn't even a 101. It was like I had taken a lot of like I had passed out of like I was like a 201 course or something.
Oh no, yeah. Like I mean that's how they got there, right?
Yeah, they're just like and he's like, well, they got to take Spanish, I guess. And this guy's like didn't know his hablos from his hablas and anyway, nosotros. Hey, folks, precedent for vosotros, nosotros, all these different. Spanish has a informal particle, and whenever people get too in the weeds about like semantics and grammar about things, I'm like, that it's like only applies to English.
Right. Yeah. I mean that's why Latin American Spanish said vosotros.
Yeah.
No, we're just not gonna do that. We don't care.
Right. So I never learned. I was like, our books had it. Like, we're not going to learn. We're in America. We're not going to learn vosotros. We don't need it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, my Spanish teacher, who was like from Mexico, was out with. He had to get some kind of like really serious surgery, like on his back or something. So he called up one of his friends who worked at a local school, which was a Catholic school. So she was a Catholic nun from Spain.
Oh.
And she's talking to this room full of kids in very, very South Texas. So all of us are Latin American. And she starts trying to teach vosotros, and she starts trying to have us do the Castilian accent with like the lisp. And we just said, we are not doing that. I'm so like, I guess we had been maybe her second or third class of the day. And we had kind of unanimously revolted and said, we're not doing that. Like, absolutely not.
Deb, how often are you going to go to Spain,
I mean, and it'll just get you more confused is the problem. Hearing Castilian Spanish is very strange.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Yeah, I have very little familiarity, I think, with it. I think I haven't seen, I'm trying to think of the Spanish films I've seen. And I think it's mostly just like Del Toro stuff. And
I forget because
he's from Mexico.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I do think Pan's Labyrinth is set in Spain, but I think none of them speak with Spanish accents except for the Fawn.
Yeah, because
could be wrong.
I don't remember. Because I remember not having like. I remember it was when I watched Pan's Labyrinth, and I was like, "Oh, that Spanish really stuck with me." Because I was like, I've read, I've watched movies in say like Italian, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take your word for it. Subtitles.
I mean,
but
sometimes someone will say like pantalon, and you're like, oh,
yes.
Obviously, I know what that means.
Right.
Genius linguist.
I use my Romance language roots, and I logic it all together. but watching Pan's Labyrinth, I'm like, oh, I know. I can just like. I could never catch up with it if somebody did not have subtitles. I'm not that fluent, but like with the subtitles there. It's like, I get it.
Yeah, you only need to read every third word so you can really drink in that set design, that costume design.
Yeah, and what a set design it is.
It's such a good film.
It's beautiful. I am a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro just in general and all of his. I love weird monsters, and he loves weird monsters as well.
He sure does. That fabulous clip of him meeting his favorite kaiju, like in Japan.
Yes.
The kaiju actor, I think.
That is something I want to. I've seen two kaiju movies, which were two Godzilla movies. I've seen the original Godzilla, and I've seen like Destroy All Monsters, I think. Whichever one is the first era, which I think it's the Heisei. I forget which era was the first era. If it was the Heisei era, or if that's the second era, or whatever. But it's weird because like Godzilla's like a movie, and then like Destroy All Monsters is like, I don't know, wrestling.
Oh, okay. I see that connection though. Absolutely.
Like the quality of like the story and like what you're there for is to see people in suits throw each other around, as opposed to like there being a real plot or something. But
which fair.
I feel like that's something I could watch with like.
Big monster.
Oh, sorry. What was that?
I just said everybody loves a big monster punching another big monster.
Yeah. That's precisely what it is. People in big suits punching one another. Although I did have a realization where it's like, I remember there was a clip of mascots dancing at like some kind of like banking conference or something.
Yes. It's like a charity event, and those banana guys that are going wild on the floor.
Yeah, and then I was like, something inside my brain flipped where I was like, I can't believe you people come on here with your fucking just eat the rich talk all day, and then you'll post nonstop posts about people dancing for bank executives who are clearly probably very likely underpaid laborers.
Oh gosh, yeah, I wonder what the salary is for someone who works in a mascot suit like that.
Yeah, probably not as much as it should be.
No, especially because it's so hot. I'd like to think that people like Gritty are paid like extremely well.
Yeah,
they're the experts in their fields, you know.
I think Gritty's also got a different vibe going on, you know.
Yeah, Gritty, again, kind of similar to Cat in the Hat, does feel openly vindictive.
Yes.
Well, actually, I think he is, because didn't they say, like, hey, you have to have a mascot, like, for this new season? They said, okay, we're going to make a big orange weirdo, and his name's going to be Gritty. And then I want to say they announced him by openly threatening other mascots with him.
I think so. He's a real he's a real shit stirrer.
He sure is.
He's like kind of I don't know. I have a lot of, as anyone born and living in America, I have a lot of complicated feelings about this country, you know. But something about like Gritty is like a good encapsulation of some of the things to like that kind of like real feisty lower class, you know. That's like, man, this sucks. And
Gritty would.
Yeah. It's a real mess of a thing, and I don't know. Anyway, but now we're cresting 2 hours, and now I'm gonna actually stop so some of us can just like, you know, we can. Oh, someone's Akewood posting. Perfect time.
See, I told you it was a thing.
It is, but this is an old man. Old, I say, who is probably like about my age.
Guy just decrepit.
Yeah. Acquaintance of the show, Evan Dom, is posting Akewood. I got a. You guys know Megan Mog or Mega Hex or whatever it's properly known as. The Simon Hanselman comic.
I don't think so either.
Okay, I love it. I got a shirt. I got a good old. I got my good Werewolf Jones shirt in. It's a real treat. I'm a fan of it. It's real good to wear out in public because it's just anyway. I really love that. It's like real. It's a real mess. It is. I don't know. Deeply Is it problematic? I don't know. I don't know what it's considered problematic. I think. I think the problem is that it's like there's a lot of whenever people say something is problematic, let's take for
There's
instance,
like a big gray area of what it means.
right,
Right.
or like I think it runs up. I think as you were saying with wholesome cozy cottage core deluxe edition. It's like when anything that like kind of dips a toe in that territory has to be perfect, maybe, or less the mobs approach it. Because I'm like, I think it was because when people were getting upset about Boyfriend Dungeon, I was like, have you people ever watched movies before? Or like, it seems like the mildest thing in the entire world. As someone who's never played it, but has almost assuredly seen things that if you were to use its content as a scale, it would be like marshmallow softness.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just we always want some content warnings, and that truly could have been the entire conversation. But now we had to get like weird.
Yeah, it's always like I want to navigate my relationship with content warnings because I feel like I think they should just be like I've seen some games do this where it's like, do you want them? Click on the menu option if you want them. If you don't want them, don't click it because I'm like, I don't need that. I kind of want to just go in.
Right. Yeah. I would truly love a tiered system, right, where it's like, do you want content warnings? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Here's the list of content warnings. Do you need more information? Yes. Just put that on the store page. I would love if that was perhaps more normalized. Does the dog die does not do enough, particularly because that's like a user input site. So if a game has just come out or a movie even, you're not gonna know nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like it's all complicated and especially with like. I think it all comes down to not everything is for everybody,
Oh yeah, and it's just gotta know that ahead of time.
Yeah, and if you think something is too gross for you, then maybe if you think the thing is too gross, maybe you just don't like the thing. You're allowed to not like it.
True. I would be so pissed though if I didn't know that there was gore in the thing, and someone's like, "It's a fun horror movie," and I go, like 10 minutes in.
Could you imagine going on to Twitter? You show the thing to your friends, and one of them goes on to Twitter, is like dragging the thing because I can't believe the dog died, and there were no warnings that the dog was going to die. Spoilers for the thing. Dogs die in it. Multiple.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. So, but yeah. I think it's fine without it. I think you just need to know what you're getting into, and I think you can research what you're getting into without John Carpenter giving a 10-minute monologue at the top. He's like, if you don't like blood, there's blood stuff in this. If you don't like cutting, if you don't like dogs dying, if you don't like just gross stuff, if you don't like kind of like unfair treatment of people and maybe stigmatization of things. Is it a poor stigmatization of mental illness? Who knows? Or it's like, what words are correct words? Is there problematic language within the thing? Does it promote alcoholism? I'm going to start viewing all movies through a wholesome lens. I can't believe the thing promotes alcoholism and without properly explaining that it's a disease and that you should respect it. And he just drinks the whole time.
Well, I don't even drink, and I would be too.
No, I neither do I in terms of I don't drink hard liquor. I enjoy the taste of beer, but like expensive beers, so I don't drink very often. It's like once every couple months you can get like a fancy beer that a monk made.
Ooh.
And treat yourself, but not like a 30 rack of Natty Ice. But speaking of Natty Ice, speaking of Heineken and how one should always fuck that shit in favor of Pabst Blue Ribbon. Same with, I think, okay, so Cat in the Hat is maybe a wild guess, but when the new Mario movie comes out, the Illumination one, I'm telling you right now, people are gonna say that first Mario movie not so bad.
Yeah, truly. But I also feel like it'll be for a really goofy reason.
Yeah, or they're gonna be like, this is, well, because I think the new one's probably just gonna be like, it's a Minions movie, but Mario's in it or something.
Yeah.
But
I think it'll come down again to something that happens a lot with animation, and particularly animation specifically for kids, where people are like, "Ugh, this sucks. This is just for kids," and it's like, it sure is, bud. That's
yeah,
what it's made for, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's if you're looking for children's cartoons for things that are not a cartoon for children, you're looking in the wrong spot.
Right.
But you know how people have been. There was a time. There's that fucking what's it called? It's all comes back to, it's all Flapjack's fault, I think, really.
Flapjack in like season 5 of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, it's that era. Well, because I remember Flapjack was like the progenitor of like, there's like a family tree that goes to like Adventure Time and Steven Universe and all those other like shows that are like kids shows but are kind of weird and adult appropriate or whatever, and not just like strictly like children's shows for dumb children.
Yeah, like all ages.
Yeah. And it was like, I mean, by the end of Adventure Time, there's like, he's just making zines. It's like, you're not even pretending that you're just like an indie comics show, but in indie comics, you know. Michael DeForge did not accidentally work on that show. But anyway, it kind of raised, I think, a kind of generation on cartoons, and now they just too many cartoons or something. Anime is to blame. I'm going to blame anime. I'm going to throw all the blame at the feet of anime. Like
when in doubt, just blame a shonen.
I will blame a shonen.
I sure will.
There was I saw on Twitter that the fucking creep in My Hero was like, I don't know. I saw the people denouncing their bisexuality as that little weird creep was. I don't know.
Oh yes, the mistranslation thing.
Yeah.
That I got whipped up about, yes.
Yeah, and I was like, people were like, turn it in. I'm straight now. I'm officially picking a side.
Yeah, I will say, as bad as it should make me feel, queer people joking about stuff like that is maybe the funniest thing ever. Like,
yeah,
I'm a lesbian streaming on Twitch. Basically everybody there is queer, and to just suddenly be like, wait a second, there are gay people here. It never ceases to make me laugh. It's just so ridiculous.
As it turns out, folks, they're everywhere. As it turns out, the spectrum becomes more and more visible as culture becomes more and more accepting, and then you realize, hey, everyone probably is to some extent. You just may never realize and see it in your lifetime, but you could have been a dude, and then there's like 3 dudes out there in the world for you, but you just never met them, you know? Anyway, or you're too much societal pressure or any number of things. Who knows? But anyway, the real... I caught myself where I was gonna yell at people about anime and how if there's a queer person in anime, I've never seen them.
Hey, I mean, we can say that.
But or it's like that is the definition of real reaching. But if you know what, if people find it in their reach, good for them. Anything that anywhere you find your thing, you know, you understand yourself through another culture's lens that you don't realize that maybe they're making fun of them, but it's at least they exist, I suppose.
Yeah, that's always my thing. If that makes you happy, then I am happy for you, but don't try to tell me that it's real and you know,
right,
intentional and kind.
people have really headcanon their way into canon, you know.
That's true.
And so it's like, if they do it constantly. And I was like, let me see that. I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? They'll have like, and I think it happens with everything. They'll be like, this character's so queer, and then I'll look at it and they have like a very clear heterosexual love interest.
Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time where people will say, "Oh my God, this character's a lesbian icon," and she just like wears pants instead of a skirt. You know?
Lotus, how many pants do you wear on average?
I mean, here's the thing: I am in my skirt era, so
Oh shit!
I'm breaking boundaries, baby.
Your icon status revoked.
No. It's
Never.
okay. I'm still mean, so it loops back around. It still counts.
Okay, perfect. That's defining traits.
Yeah.
The only if only I could define my identity by being mean and wearing pants. Wait, I'm mean and I wear pants. Oh
And
no,
so we said earlier, lesbians are winning. All you have to do is be mean and wear pants.
that's the easiest thing. So as we close this out, Lotus, as the winningest lesbian on the show, maybe, I don't know, what a proclamation. What have you got to plug before as we shut this thing down?
Oh, I guess I don't have anything specific, but you can find me at Lotus Loves Lotus on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I stream at 6 p.m. Central Time most days, and we hang out, play a lot of indie games. Sometimes, like I said, play, garbage like League of Legends. But it's about hanging out and talking smack on the gaming industry and being gay. Right.
Yeah, sometimes you want to be a weird little pirate man.
Yes.
And run around and shoot guys and be like, I'm the best little pirate man.
I do like to run around and just say, hey, I'm just a little guy. Hey, don't fight me. I'm just a little guy.
I'm just a little guy. Oh, turned out I'm a really big guy now. Gotcha. I like being the little guy that turned into the big guy.
He's a good time.
He's a good guy. I'm good at that guy, or I was good at that guy for a time when I played with friends. I'm a real top, as they say.
Oh.
Rana, what have you got to plug before we go off the rails?
I guess I'm working on a new visual novel game with someone called Boyfriend Dungeon. It's a monster dating sim. It's got another couple of mechanics, but we're figuring that out at the moment.
Oh, perfect. And you have an itch, which I am also linking in. It's Rana dash, and that is RANA dash strange at .itch.io. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. I'm trying to get better at like posting links in the chat, For my part, I am always me, That's just me being me. Anyway, Indiepocalypse, you should buy it. It's good stuff. There's good games in it. There's lots of weird stuff. There's award-winning games in it, There's award-winning people in it. It's your number one source for good indie games. And I like it. You can buy that at indiepocalypse.com, which brings you to my page, which has also, if you're on that page, you can check out all the contributors. They all have a lot of them have little pictures and bios that have more links to all their stuff. There's a map to show you where everyone is. There's 18 countries that are covered in Indiepocalypse. They're all over the place. I'm infecting the world with the idea of getting paid for making games. The nice part about going to events now in these COVID times is that bigger companies aren't going, so there's a lot of students, so I can infect their minds early that you should get paid to make games. And that you should not just go to conventions and give out postcards and stickers and buttons. And if someone tries to do that, you should slap them and say, no, this button costs money. I paid for this button. If you want it, you got to give me money for it. If you're one of those people that likes to make games, why don't you submit it to indiepocalypse.com/submit. It's always accepting new submissions. If you got weird shit and you're like, is this a game? kind of submitted. I'm looking for the most aggressively bizarre stuff. This is like in the ideal world, we've got like true, like strange and aggressively outsider art within Indiepocalypse, with a little here and there for the normies, so I can make money. That have like Mario stuff where your little guys jumping around. But sometimes even our little guys jumping around are weird perverts, you know?
Come on, Flutie 3D.
That's what I was going to say. Did you not?
I loved it. I lost my mind playing that game. So good.
Yeah, we have only our little guys are the true sickos. It's like when I was a kid and I downloaded all those ROM hacks, and then one of them, Mario, was naked and has dick out. I was like, what's going on? This is Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo. Why does Mario have his dick out? That's kind of funny, though. Anyway, welcome. Indiepocalypse is a true home for all sickos and weirdos. Geeks and gamers permitted. But, so I know how to find, like, the geeks and gamers in a crowd, but how do you find the sickos in a crowd? Do you, like, lean up against windows and go, haha, yes? And then people will be like, yes, and they join you at the window. I wonder if people know Kelly is satire. Like, I wonder if people are aware where that comes from. I think about that kind of thing sometimes.
Satire is a weird and scary place.
Yeah, because he's so abstracted that, like, how many people are on The Onion looking at that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
But it's good. If you want to see a lot of good crying lady liberties and stuff like that, and teens with their pants too far down. I forget, check out Kelly's political comics. If you read like 3 of them, you kind of get the idea.
Right.
And you're like, that's enough for me. But that's all my stuff, I think. Oh, wait, there's a Patreon. I always forget. You can subscribe to Indiepocalypse at any level. When I say it, I think there's 4 levels. I think you can put in custom amounts on Patreon too. I think you just kind of give them whatever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But there's tiers where you can get print copies of the magazine that I'll mail to you, and all sorts of neat stuff. Neat stuff being the zine, or if you were in this show and you're like, I just missed it. You get it on Monday if you're a $5 patron. And all that money goes to developers and a little bit to me. I always take a taste off the top because this is a job that I do.
Right.
But the more you pay me, the more I will eventually be able to pay other people, you know? Sorry, I'm looking at... I should play Deltarune. I think anyway, I'm starting to ramble about my weird relationship with Undertale and how I really loved it. Like, I really loved
slippery slope.
I loved it immensely, and I think I still love it. But like, then people loved it too much, and I kind of got sick of it. Because I'm like, I'm sick of hearing it. I'm pointing at a picture on the wall. I'm Charlie Day pointing at a wall at a picture of Papyrus or Sans, and I'm like, I'm sick of this guy. But anyway, people are posting good art on Twitter of Deltarune.
Ah, yes.
This
Fan artists really come out in force when some game gets released, I tell you.
Yeah, and this is it? No, this isn't. It's just reposted by. I'm getting further into the Japanese indie comic scene. There's a Kickstarter coming out that's like Butch for Butch Dojin stuff, and I'm like, finally, the good stuff coming out of Japan. Not like, anyway, you know, I've already kind of stated my complicated relationship with queerness and whatever. It's endlessly complicated. But that's life, as they say. Growing up in the 90s, you're like, I never know how to think about myself in the way people are portrayed in media. It was a real watch. If you get a chance, watch that Phantasmagoria 2 video essay. Set aside that 3 hours for that Voidburger Phantasmagoria 2 video
Is it
essay.
3 hours? Let me get into that.
I don't know if it's 3 hours. It might just be 2, but it's very good. He's also like my go-to like secondary source for like I need someone who plays FMV games. Who likes weird horror FMV games, and it's like anyway, I like that it's a very good video essay. It's nice to know that people are thinking about Phantasmagoria, a puzzle flesh in the year 2021, and I hope to think about it long into the future. And with that message, I'm going to say thank you both, Lotus, Rana. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having me on.
Glad to have you.
Sorry.
Both. No, that's fine. I talked a lot. I said a lot. I kind of... Oh, no. Someone posted in Discord, you seen a full Phantasmagoria radio about Phantasmagoria 2 and or FMV games. And we do. I wanted to get like an experts panel on Phantasmagoria 2 and do like a long stream on like Halloween or something for it, or like the anniversary of the game for like people who I would consider to be experts in the field, you know? And we would all play through it together and have a fun time. But anyway, shutting it down as the old saying goes.
Flip the switch.
Once Andrew gets a rambling, it's time to get a scrambling. So I'm going to leave you with, would you believe it, folks? It's the song Suzanne by the man himself, Leonard Cohen this time. Finally, the man gets his propers. Go out, folks. Listen to Leonard Cohen. The last thing. I'm looking at young Leonard Cohen. He's a cool looking guy. Weirdest thing I saw is an image of. Are you familiar with On Cinema at the Cinema? Or Neil Hamburger?
Wait, can you say the first one again?
On Cinema at the Cinema?
No, I'm sorry. I feel like I haven't noticed a single thing. I'm like, damn.
So for a long time, let's go back for a moment. Which is, I don't know if that woo is a woof that I know what On Cinema is. Please confirm yes or no, or if that's
I believe that woo was for Suzanne by Leonard.
Okay, that works too. But anyway, there was an old two sidebars before I close. One, I would often just reference things endlessly on the show, and then someone was like, I haven't known single thing you were talking about when I listened to all these shows. And I was like, oh no, what if that's the case for everybody? So it's developed a tick in me where now I kind of ask people if they know about things before I just start rambling about them. And then secondly, I saw an old picture of David Berman from the Silver Jews and Greg Turkington, and he was like, wow, look at that young Greg Turkington. He's a cool looking guy, actually. Was not expecting that. But that's it. That's the end of it. I think he was like a tour manager for someone or something at some point. Everybody comes from somewhere. I should play. I don't think I've ever played Silver Jews on here or any David Berman. I'll do that one of these times. Maybe some Purple Mountain. But I really like it. Random Rules is like number one. Go to the karaoke bar and just sing Punks in the Beer Light. I think it's a top shelf karaoke song. Maybe. I have weird tastes. Goodbye.